Some of the new inventory in this week, not in this week, but recently, the 1970 Plymouth Barracuda hardtop, the white over black, it's unmolested, meaning that it hasn't been monkeyed with, is what we mean by when we say unmolested, that it hasn't been painted or done up or redone the seats or redone the carpet or redo whatever. It's basically untouched and in mostly original condition. It's got its numbers matching this 318, not the big motor, it's not the 440, but still a desirable car, especially in original type condition. Numbers matching, A904 automatic transmission, got the original window sticker. It's the first year for the E-body Barracuda in the grocery getter 318, we call it. So,
apparently a bulletproof engine. I'm not a Mopar guy, but 318 was a well-regarded engine.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't, again, we've talked about this on the show before. We don't make fun of a DZ302 in a Camaro. We don't make fun of a 302 in a Mustang, a GT. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a 300-ish cubic inch engine.
Yeah.
And a lot of the new V8s are smaller cubic inch. I mean, if you look at some of the Mercedes and some of the BMWs, they're 300 to 400 cubic inches, but they may have twin turbos and different things like that, not necessarily normally aspirated.
Right.
But and it's got a 2-barrel carburetor and an automatic transmission. So, Barracuda. See, I sang. There's my singing from heart.
I love the Barracudas.
I do too. They are the coolest.
And you did mention we have a convertible Challenger here,
We do.
right?
We do.
And that's the one car I could never understand why they didn't make that in a convertible, because that would have been a gorgeous car.
Other new inventory that we were discussing before we went to break is the 1932 Ford Model B Roadster. This thing is nearly flawless. It is so spectacular. And, not often do you hear that about a 1932 Ford, unless it's a custom or a hot rod or a street rod. This has been taken a little bit of liberty. It's got a 3-speed manual with overdrive on it. It's got a 201 cubic inch inline 4, but it's been modified and done up different. It's got power brakes, non-factory leather interior, but this thing is really nicely done. And it's one of those ones that it's kind of a resto mod, but it just, what they did to it was make it more enjoyable to drive. They gave it power enough so it can go down the highway. They made it so it was, would stop and run and easy to steer. And it's got an amazing just list of things that are done to it. So it's a car that you could easily walk past and not notice because it looks just like any other 32 Ford Model B until you actually go, oh, look under the hood. It's one of the few that we have the hood open.
Right. Yep. It's behind
it's by the ropes, the velvet ropes.
I think this is one of the first cars I rode up.
So, oh, really?
It was a challenge, but it's a beautiful car.
Absolutely.
Beautiful car.
You know what the ropes are for, don't you? Do you know what the ropes are for?
Keep the cars in?
No, to keep the people out.
Keep people out.
People seem to have a hard time grasping that. Oh, no, I just wanted to go in and look at the car.
Right.
Oh, the ropes were only up for people that didn't want to look at the car.
Well, the ropes will have a boutique room where the whole room will be roped, and you got to
make an appointment.
Make an appointment to be like a club.
But you have to, it's just not. Can't just go all over it.
This is a beautiful car, though, if you're in the market for it.
It really is. Take a look at that one, and it's on the website. There's some great pictures of it. We have, we try to take about 100 pictures of each vehicle, underneath, upside, every side of it you can. And of course, not only is that good for our buyers, but it's also good for our writer and content editor, because what we found out is that you don't need to be here when you're riding.
Right.
Because if you're here, the distractions are just too many. There
are distractions. I do like to, when I am here, once or twice a week, is to really get a feel for the new cars that came in, and if there's something about it. Like I sat in the blue Studebaker Silver Hawk or whatever it's called.
Avanti?
No, it's the
Silver Hawk, the blue one.
Yeah, with the modified engine, and just sitting in it was like, oh, this is a different feel. You know?
And you maybe have a different perspective of a car when you sit in it. Are we going to ever get through the new inventory?
No, go ahead.
Probably not. How about, this will be right up your, this is in your wheelhouse.
I know.
91 Nissan 300ZX twin turbo, cherry red pearl over charcoal black, 27,000 original miles.
Somebody put it away.
3-liter twin turbo V6. These cars back in the day were the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They were really it. They were the twin turbo. This was a great car. The timing belt service was done just less than 2,000 miles ago. All-wheel steering, and with the window sticker comes with it. And this thing is factory fresh. This thing is really, really nice. I really like this car a lot. I think that you don't see them in cherry red pearl as often. You see a lot of them in white.
Right.
See a lot of them in gray.
Black sometimes.
Black, but not a whole lot in the cherry red. So if you want to stand out,
but it's also a low key color. It's kind of like a maroon.
Sure.
Like it doesn't. It's not a flashy color. It's kind of a pedestrian color.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it.
I do too.
Kind of under the radar.
And they're really fun to drive.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, they are. Well, you should come drive them every once in a while.
Yeah, no, that's.
Or maybe we should drive them and put it on our show. Well, there's a novel concept.
There you go.
Hey.
That's right.
But anyway, other new inventory. I said anyway again. Other new inventory, the 41 Cadillac Series 61 Sedanette. I love Sedanettes. I think they're so cool looking. Mm-hmm. But this one's flame red over dark red. It's got like an early 90s, late 80s Cadillac interior.
What's a Sedanette?
It's a car that's like a coupe. It looks like a sedan, but it doesn't have the back doors.
Oh.
So a Sedanette is...
We don't use that term anymore, but...
It's not used in any...
So it'd be like a two-door post, basically?
Kind of, but it could almost... Well, didn't Mercedes come out with a CLS, which was the four-door coupe? Mm-hmm. They called it, because it didn't look like it had back doors. So it's kind of the opposite of it. It actually had four doors and looked like a coupe. This has two doors and looks like a sedan.
Yeah.
So a sedanette,
right,
if you will. 700 R4 tranny on a 350 cubic inch V8. This one is a magazine cover car. Full custom interior with this thing. I mean, this Cadillac interior is amazing. It looks like what you'd expect from the early 90s. And really a cool car and a great body style. If you've never seen it, go to our website, classicautomall.com. You can't miss it.
It is. The back of this car is epic.
It really is. It's cool. Got the coolest look to it ever. It's just very streamlined, and
it's like if you were a little kid, you'd want to slide down the rear fender.
Right, exactly.
They're just that big.
Yeah, 100%. So other new inventory. How about the 1977 Ford Granada two-door sedan?
Yeah,
cream over cream. 50,000 actual miles, long-term family ownership.
Right.
302 cubic inch V8 with a C4 automatic.
See?
How cool is this? I mean, you remember that the Granadas were advertised as the alternative for a lot less money than Mercedes.
That's right, exactly.
I never really saw that.
All of their ads were comparing it to the Mercedes.
Yeah, in the way that the comfortability and the driveline, and the way it performed and the way it looked. A lot of styling cues that they borrowed, and I guess that's okay. You know, listen, flattery is the sincerest compliment, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting car because they're not ones that you see at all, because you can't afford to restore them, because then you'll be upside down in them, because probably, they're not going to be. You could restore one of these and spend $30,000 or $40,000 and you never get your money back.
Right.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
So if somebody restores one, they do it out of the love of it, which I love, and that's great. Or they maintained it and held it for all these years and didn't need to restore it because it's been so perfectly maintained for all these years.
But they were everywhere, and they were used, and they rusted out, and they just broke down, and so there are not many left in this condition.
No. And it's really neat to see a car like this. I like seeing cars that you don't see very often, even if they're kind of in the plain Jane category.
Absolutely.
So, and last but not least, the 1938 Plymouth P6 Convertible Coupe, battleship gray over camel tan. Great color combination. Love that charcoal gray with a tan interior. Known history: we were built 201 cubic inch inline six, largely original, mostly original car.
Yes.
You can drive this thing anywhere, though. I mean, this thing, it went on. They just took it on a 2,000-mile trip.
Right. Think
about taking a 1938 anything on a 2,000-mile trip. Seems like a long way to go.
They really put time and energy into the drivetrain.
Yeah, and they rebuilt it and redid the brakes, and it's one of those cars that its performance is better than its looks.
For sure.
It needs to be restored. It needs to be redone if you wanted to go and win, awards. If you wanted something great to drive and enjoy and not worry about it breaking down on you.
Yeah, and then you can pick the color that you want if you want to paint it. I mean, but the mechanics have been gone through and done, so half the restoration is over for you.
Yeah, and usually that can be the hardest part, or sometimes it can be. Not usually. Sometimes it can be the hardest part is figuring out what color you're going to paint it and all of that good stuff. But the engine and the electrical and the drivetrain can drive you crazy restoring a car. I mean, especially the electrical, especially on these older cars.
Sure.
You can chase your tail for, and it's not like the electronics they have on new cars. It's not like they have heated and cooled seats, armrest, and center consoles. I mean, these things had very, very small, minor electrical things, but the gremlins can be there.
That's right. That's right. And it won't tell you on the dash where to find the gremlin.
Where to look. And you can't even plug in one of those OBD to whatever.
Not at all.
Because first of all, there's nowhere to plug it in.
You literally have to grab a wire and trace it through the car and see
if it shocks you, then you know that you found the one that's still working.
If you're looking for a short, you physically have to look for it.
But isn't it funny how with such little bit amounts of wiring that they actually they can drive even the most seasoned mechanics crazy sometimes with electrical gremlins and all that good stuff. Yep. So anyway, that's some of the new inventory in the that we've taken in recently. And of course, we've slowed down a little bit on consignments only because of the weather.
Right.
It hasn't been the snow. It's been just precipitation in general,
which
we've had way more of this year than in the past couple of years. So
this has been the Classic Auto Mall Show with your host, Stuart Howden.